Okay, guys, welcome to this episode today. I'm joined by Olympians offensive coordinator Murray Dumas, and today we're going to talk about the subject of stretch the base play. We've had a quick chat beforehand, and we'll let coach take it away from here, and hopefully we can all learn something from the subject. So, without further ado, coach, it's over to you, and I'll let you get on with it, buddy.
Thanks very much, Coach. Pleasure to do this with you. Hopefully you'll find this interesting and we can make something of it. Just to start our usual AA meeting, my name is Murray Dumas and I've been involved with the British American football scene since 1982. Played O-line, D-line, linebacker, DB and running back in my time. Was a player coach from 1990 to 95. I then went and joined a team called Invicta Eagles as their head coach and was there from 95 to 97. And when the Eagles stopped as a team, I then joined the London Olympians in 1998. Once there, worked as the offensive coordinator and DC, O-line coach and general dog's body for a while. And I've been with the O's since 98 on and off and worked as all the way through with them through the big times when we won perennial championships and one European the EFAF Cup. So I worked with GB. I worked with GB from 98 to 2010 as a consultant O-line and offence, mainly due to the fact I wanted to concentrate with the Olympians and stick with the Olympians rather than try and make myself do both. The time thing, really. And I've recently been working with two teams in Portugal, the Algarve Pirates and Sharks. So that's a little bit about myself. Hopefully not bored you too much with that, but we'll get on to the real thing. So when Coach asked me to do this talk, I thought, what could we talk about? What was different? And I didn't want to do the same thing everybody else does and generally try and get into something different for you. So stretch football stood out to me. It's something we did in the past. It's something that we found quite easy to teach and also was quite exciting at the time. So why choose this concept? The original thoughts, several questions came up and it was, what's relevant? What can we talk about that's relevant to today's football? What is fun to run with different formations and what enables the players to feel empowered? So run football, fellas. Football's changed here over the years. And we don't see many teams run anything with two back offences. Players are different. Players look a little smaller than they used to, but they're more agile and a little bit faster, I would say. So what I want to talk about is this stretch concept that's been around for a long time. But you can make it seem fresh, expansive, and dynamic. So what is the stretch concept and how does it fit in British football? Well, stretch concept is a zone concept, but it wants to get a wall of bodies at a critical point on the field, creating an advantage for the offence and in turn creating a stress to the edge for the defence. this is a power concept with a great range of applications that can suit the British game and its players. So some people may say, well, that's outside zone, isn't it? So the question is it outside zone, or do we call it a stretch? Well, the fact is that we shouldn't really get confused. They're two different concepts. They both use a two-level philosophy, but one has been designed to stress the defense to the edge while on the move. The other is primarily designed to cause the defense to be more static in its response. So the play, as you can see here, is fairly basic play in its infancy. So here I've got normal 21 personnel. We have a 4-3 defense, and I've got it shown here with the fullback leading the way off the edge of the defense, and a mesh point for the running back. And that mesh point can be vital to you in its teaching. What I've showed here with the defense, especially with the linebackers, is a flow, because a lot of the linebackers in this country don't actually key and read. They tend to flow where the ball's going. And so I've shown that. And the idea of this is to literally take your offensive line and drive to the play side and work that edge. Now, as soon as we have any openings with our guys, we've always taught, if the lineman next to you has got control, move on and get second level and disrupt, so that we get enough people moving up the field and allow the run play to develop. The running back has the mesh point, the halfback in this case has a mesh point, and why we set that mesh point was to have an influence over the linebacker, that play side linebacker. So if the play side linebacker has seen that halfback come down and run in the B gap and the C gap on a regular basis, so now he feels that gap's being threatened, and he should come towards that gap, which makes an easier block for our lineman, and also commits him inside, which allows then our fullback to get second level and create a wall, which we can work our way up to, and gives then a free break once our halfback has reached that mesh point and then starts to break. It gives him that opening. So I've got a little bit of film on us back in the day. This is 2005. And what I'm going to do is going to stop it there for a second for you. Excuse me. Now, we didn't have a running back, a tight end during this year. So we're in a 20 personnel. We had a great slot in Clive Palumbo during that time, and he could really block. I mean, he had a great way around him. Now, as you can see, we've got two running backs. The idea for us was to get our inside hand onto the numbers and get outside of the defender and try and cut off that edge. Now, we weren't always able to do it in that manner. So what we did is we made sure that we got a piece from the outside player, which in this case is our slot. If you can see my mouse here on our slot, he should get a piece of that D end, allow our tackle to come up onto him, and then release up onto this linebacker here. Our fullback should come down and take a piece of the D end and then come up second level, allowing our halfback time to get into the mesh point and then make his adjustment and either bounce or cut. So that's always the plan for our stretch, is to drive the angle, work the angle, and open up the backside by working our way to second level. So if I continue with this, we in fact in this play, there was quite a few things that went wrong. If you see, the QB should be on a reverse pivot. He opens up to it, which forces the running back, the halfback, to take a wider angle. The slot doesn't take a piece of the end, and neither does the fullback. So we really did on this play. We made some huge mistakes, but it's all about what happens in the end. So if we go back on that one, oh, sorry, there we go. So if I move that forward just to show, so you can see our slot steps away rather than hitting the D end and attacks the linebacker. QB opens to the play instead of reverse pivot. Though our guard and our center get a good block inside with an inside hand, a good step. And back in those days, we were teaching the bucket step, which is something we don't teach anymore. But if you notice, the step is so short, or the drive is so short, it allows us to own the angle in this and then drive up to second level. So we have a backside guard that just runs a scoop and is going second level near enough straight away. And the backside tackle is just taking a piece. He should have been scooping as well, because we don't really want to block the backside in this play. We want to keep away from the backside. As we continue, and hopefully you can see the screen quite well, you can see that we've got color up in the second level. We're blocking the two inside linebackers up there. We've got the outside linebacker being pushed off the ball, and we've got the fullback now coming to the line of scrimmage. Now, he should have been taking a piece of that D end right here. Right here, he should have been taking a piece. Instead, he runs straight past, and that could have been a disaster, because now the play, instead of being forced upfield and the edge created and blocked, it's going to be, oops, come on now. Instead of creating that edge, we're now having the play drift. So you see the running back went up and got the safety. Unfortunately, we had a really fast running back, so he was able to beat that edge and get outside and take it upfield. And then it's about the safeties and how much they want to take the punishment. And he was a good kid. He liked putting his head down and driving and giving it to you. So that's the play in its basic element live. But what do we want to teach? What do we want to get our team to work with? Well, the first thing for us, and always has been, is our offensive line. We spend a lot of time with our offensive line trying to work through these concepts because we find you well with everything. If you've got no offensive line, if the offensive line does not block, you've got no play. So excuse me. So unlike the outside zone, we're looking for the O-line to locate potential blocks whilst on the move. Before we go into the side of that concept, let's look at the base footwork that we need to get us to the right spot. So we want our people to be balanced, fast in this concept, and we do not want them to overstride in the first 3 steps that they make. So we've always used landmarks for our players to make it easy and, you know, to enable them to get to the right point of the attack. This also takes away some of their anxiety of where they're going and how they're going to get there, because you've worked, you know, eye to this point, hand to that point, and you're working your way through. So we concentrate on that area, as well as how they move their hips and move their feet, and these are 2 parts of the areas that we like to work with to get control. So we want to see our players set the angle with violence and intention, and we want them to work that way through the landmarks. So, as I said before, we used to teach the bucket step, and over the last few years, I've gone into different ways of teaching, and I quite like the Charles Bentley way of teaching with the drive catch method that he teaches. So we use that these days. And that, I find, allows the player to have their hips in neutral, so that they're not locked. They don't have to make a full step to get out of their stance. It just helps them create a faster movement and a better balance. And it allows them to attack the angles because they've got their foot already in the bicycle stand position. It allows them to attack that angle quicker and with violence and intention. We're still using the landmarks on the outside numbers, etc. And we still, with the drive catch method allowing us to get that force through the ground and keep control of the power that we're exerting. So if there's anything you want to ask about that, if you've got any questions over that, I'm quite happy to go over that, Coach. Or do you want to carry on?
Oh, mate, you can carry on. I'm quite good. Okay,
cool. As long as you're keeping up, that's
I'm listening.
That's our main thing. So, hand placement. So we teach with our first drive that we want to get our inside hand up and contact with our landmark. And we give the landmark, but it's there and thereabouts. We're not asking for a player to do something exact, because that just doesn't happen. You know, we all know the movement and how quickly sometimes things happen. So if we can get our hand up around the sternum or to the outside number, great. You know, as long as we get there, our rest of our body will drive and start to drive that angle. So that's what we're really looking for. So if the opponent is close in a 3-tech, you know, or you've got a 1-tech, we want to try and make that movement, attack the angle, and get our inside hand up onto that number. If the player is now wider, if he's in a wide 3, or we've got a 5, wide 5, or a 7, we'll try and get a reach on him and use our outside hand to control, and then get our inside hand in, and then start to make that edge. That's the type of teaching that we like, and we work with that. We find that works for us, and we find that it helps us slow that defender down, and while we're still owning that angle. So once we've got that going, we're expecting the player, the backside player on the O-line, to start moving up and driving in with us. So we're holding that player, we're getting ourselves into a position where our body is in the way of that player on that angle, and we're waiting for the next down lineman to move in and push us on so that we can move up into the second level. We've got to stay firm, and though we are moving across the field, we are moving upfield. We want to keep moving forward so that we are continually creating an edge and building up through like a wall. What we don't want to do is make the mistake in letting the players string the play along. Now, if you go back to that film that we just watched, the players, because we didn't get the blocks in the correct timing, we in fact started to string the play along, which creates a problem for the running backs. So we don't want to do that. What this play is meant to do is attack, and that's what we're about. We want aggressive, attack that angle with aggression and intention, so that and force the defensive front to go back and turn. And we want to create that force that we start to turn the play upfield as well as towards the sideline. We're trying here to force those linebackers to commit early so that it opens running lanes. And by making that wall, we're giving options to our running back. So it allows us to outman this play. The way that it's designed is to outman that defense at any designated point across 3 levels, so that we have a middle, a mid-term, and outside. So the play's now moved on from that original drawing that I showed you. So now we have the tackle, the tight end, moving up into all second level, the fullback moving up alongside him, and he's now got choices, whether he helps second level on the linebacker that may be sliding out, or he goes up to a safety. The tackle has come up over the D end, and he's either going to have help from inside, or that guard will go up into second level. The center is moving up on the 3-tech, and he's either going to get help from the guard up onto the 3-tech, or that guard will move second level, and the backside tackle is on the 1-tech. QB should be influencing the defensive end, and then the halfback gets those choices. So center, mid, and outside. Let's see if we have that on film. I don't think this is purely exact, but again, 20 personnel. And in this time, the defense came with a 4-2. So he's got 4-2-4. So we've now got 4 DBs in the backfield. So what we should see is he should get a piece of this to slow it down and allow the tackle now to come out onto his edge. Then he should be looking to come up second level either here, or he's going to go straight to the safety. And then the fullback should be working off the edge to the outside linebacker. And then we have it. I'm going to let it run, and then we'll come back and have a quick look at this again. So there you go. Fullback gets up on there, opens the seam, got people downfield, and away it goes. So let's go run that slowly. Again, we were really lucky. We had some great blockers in our team at the time. Jeremy Sims, Clive, they just hit like trains. And they were up against some people. You know, we've got Coach Neo out here. We've got Coach Dunstan out there back in the day when they were playing. So as we go through this, if you can just about see his arm on our slot, putting it out to slow this defender down and allow the tackle to attack his numbers. And then as he comes past into second level, you can see on the backside, we've got our guard again, who's run the scoop. He's coming up. There's nobody in the second level. Linebacker's come up and got caught inside. So he's now coming up and he's looking at blocking one of the safeties in deep. So this is what we talk about, you know, finding your blocks on the run. This is what the stretch gives you. A lot of people can come up in second level and start finding people that they can block. Now, what we teach in that also is try not to chase them down. So if the guy is running away from you, allow the front side blockers to pick them up, go find something deeper. So go third level, which is hard for a big 310, 320 pound lineman. But they did it. I mean, this kid on our guard that day, he weighed 318 pounds. He was a big boy, and he could still get down there. And we got Gary Thomas on the outside there, another big guy that was able to get downfield. But if you see as we come through, so his block on our slot gets up onto the second level and slows the linebacker and enables that guard to come in and make him worry enough to slow him. Then our fullback comes in and hits on him, and we get a double team on that linebacker. Now, I come back, where that fullback's made a mistake is he should have chipped off of this edge, because now that's getting stretched instead of having our nice line of players down in here. He missed that, and that nearly killed the play. He gets his arm on our halfback, but fortunately he's strong there. Once we've got off of that, if I stop the play here, you can see what we're trying to do. We have created a wall. Down here, there's a wall of our players, and everything to the outside of that, our running back, is open. And we've got what, at least 10 yards where there is no opposition colour. So we move that further down, and now you can see them trying to get over the top. And what it's doing is they're over pursuing now. And it's giving him lanes back on the inside to attack. And then the rest is history.
Coach?
Yes, sir.
What's your rules for wide receivers when you're running the stretch? Like in that clip, they were playing off, so they run them off, or do they engage them?
What we had, depending on where they were. So if they were tight, if they were playing press or they were tight, we try and run them off, because it gives you time. It's a timing delay then. And what they were to do is, as they started to run off, if they saw the DB step away and stop, they were to come back and get in his face. and start to press him. If they were off, as they were in that case, what they wanted is a stalk, get up, and then once they made connection, we wanted a two-step redirect. So they stalked until the DB wanted to make contact. They contact and force him away from the play. So if the DB's position was to the outside, I would keep him on towards the outside and force him to go that way. If he's inside, I'm going to force him inside and open up the back. So what we allow them to flow with the play of the game. Does that answer that?
Yes, coach. Fantastic.
Yeah. Cool. So for the offensive line still, as the second player comes into your block and forces you off, you've got to be aware of who you're blocking next. And we like to use the spy technique. So once you've got your inside hand up onto the chest plate, you're starting to look and see where everything's going and see the movement in the defense. And as soon as they've come in and made contact, and you can feel the contact coming from them, and they're getting their hands into position, you can start looking at movement and getting away. So that on the line is where it's kind of zone orientated. So because of anything within reach and threatening our outside, our outside hand has to be or threaten our hat. Get my teeth in. Anything within reach or threatening our outside hand, we got to go for at once. So if you get a linebacker coming into the hole and you've got a one tech inside of you, or if you've got a two tech and the linebacker's threatening the B gap, you're going B gap. You're going B gap now. You're taking that edge, because if that's our plays to the outside. So if we allow that linebacker in, we screw the play. So B gap, A gap for the center. Anything in that A gap is his. Anything in the B gaps are guards. C gap, the tackle. So as soon as those gaps are threatened, that's the first thing that they're going to block. And that's where the zone scenario comes into it. And because you get also with that, you get, as I slow that guy up, the next guy coming in, you get that double team for a couple of seconds before I'm off onto the next level. And then we are getting, from that point, we start working our way up into the second level and play. And we want complete disruption. As you saw in that last play, you get complete disruption going down the field.
Obviously, your offensive linemen enjoy that second level because they like to run, right? A lot of our offensive linemen like to get second level just because they want to hit somebody. So, I think when you can go second level with the linemen, they get excited by that, to be honest.
Well, that's the whole. That was why we wanted to bring this play into our team and onto our playbook, because generally, offensive line for a base block, you're doing that all day long if necessary sometimes, and there's no true excitement about it, and they get a little sleepy over things like that. But as soon as you start saying to them that the possibility of catching a linebacker who may be coming from backside, your front side, and you're going up into a second level, and he's coming across the field, that starts getting the juices going.
See the smile on the face, can't you?
Yeah, you see it all day long. I mean, you must have. I mean, in that last play, those two linemen getting downfield as far as they did, and even reaching third level, that's an excited man, a big man,
Yeah.
running down that far. He's excited. He wants to be down there. He wants to pancake someone, and he wants a little bit of excitement in his day. And that was the whole idea of this play. It allows you to have a lot of teamwork for the O-line. They have to be able to talk to each other and tell each other what's going on. And it allows them some movement and allows them to catch people out downfield.
It's a good question following from that is, how much do you think you could run this with a rookie O-line? Because I can tell from my own experience, it's been a trouble. I think if you've got a veteran centre and a veteran guard, you can get away with more. But could you put this in at uni level right away and have success? Do you think?
I've run this with a rookie O-line.
Yeah, well, I have too, but mine wasn't that successful.
Well, the thing is that we taught with the rookie O-line that we had was that you don't leave the block until the next man comes in. So if you don't feel your teammate start to push you, you don't leave. And that was our success. You know, we had varying degrees with because we also, I mean, we started later on with those guys you just saw there, the 2005 Olympians. We were a little bit more complex, so we were able to chip and second level much quicker. But when we had a rookie group, we kept them on the player. We just said to them, just stay until your teammate calls your name and pushes you off. And what we said to the guys was that if you see the tackles on the end, on the defensive end, and he's miles away, you're not going to get to him, get second level now. Because if they're more than 4 steps away, you're never going to make those 4 steps. You might as well go second level now. And what you're doing is you're creating the gaps now that the running back can make choices at. So, you know, we developed it that way. We took a much slower route to get to where we were in 2005 because of the guys' understanding and ability as well. I mean, it's all about ability, because people forget in the UK, you know, we don't tend to use the very best linemen for offensive line. That is a mentality of the UK right now. They tend to look at players that are big and bulky because they feel, well, that's a good position to keep them. They don't normally have great feet, don't always have great hand and eye coordination, and they certainly don't have a lot of speed. So you tend to have a group of guys that are not going to make from centre. You're not going to get that guy snap the ball and get to the outside numbers of a 3-tech. You're just not going to get that. So what we said is, until we can teach those guys and get their speed and get their ability there, let's just say you're a right guard, the 3-tech's yours. Unless your teammate, unless the centre calls your name or punches you in the ribs to get you out of his way, you ain't leaving. And then to the centre, we used to say to him, snap, make sure that you put your inside hand up to slow that 1-tech, check with your eyes where that 3-tech is, and if he's too far away, get second level. And aim yourself at the play side outside linebacker, not at the middle linebacker.
All about following rules and reps, coach. Rules and reps.
That, you know, it's just fundamentally, yep. it was the way to go. And to be honest, they were great. They were great. We were able to make some, and we had a good running back. We had young kids on the front line, good running back, but we was able to open people up. And then it's the expectation of how much you expect to make on each play when you run that. And we wanted 4 yards. So again, we cut down the expectations so that when it did go off, they were more excited about the play.
Yeah, I like that.
So, and going back to them, we still use the landmarks. Even now, I like giving landmarks as an indication, especially for the young kids, where to put their eyes and where I'd like you to put your hands as much as possible. It just takes a lot of that worry about the whole thing out of the context for them. So we want them to attack the play side number of the defender and cut him off at the edge and cut everything at the edge there. And by doing that, we'll be trying to just attack half of the defense and cause the defense to overemphasize their need to get to the edge. And that way it opens up all the backside holes for the running back. And as you saw back, in that play we ran, as he started to get downfield, even more so, they were overrunning the play and opening up holes for him. It's just a beautiful play that allows that if you get those first elements, those base elements correct. So we've now gone down through the different plays, and we're at the point here where the running back has actually started passing the line of scrimmage. And you can see I've put in a red line there that is the wall. And as you saw in that last play, everything to the running back's right was empty. And he had all of 10 yards with nobody else that was gonna make that play. And that frightens the defense. When the defense is running down to make tackles and they see all this expanse to one side, they feel they have to fill it. They have this need to make sure that you can't use that, and then they overrun the play and give you all the cutbacks. So what I've done is I've put some film together of the last couple of teams that ran this offense, and obviously they run it a lot better than we did.
Yeah.
But the Ravens and the New England Patriots, and even today the Patriots do like to play with it every now and again, but they've done it out of different formations. And just to show, you can run spread offense and still run this. So just wanted to show you that. We'll go back and forward over it as time permits, but let's have a little look and see what we got.
Do a better job transitioning when they see pass. All right, give up on the run. Let's go get after the quarterback, and that's been one of the difficulties for the Jets defense so far this year. Once again, over the left side, touchdown, Ravens.
Well, I'm going to stop there for a second. What you may, it happens so quick, but what you may have missed is the amount of bodies the Ravens got into a wall to allow a complete tunnel for that running back to run in. And we're going to see it in slow-mo. And what they were up against, they were running up against, the Jets were playing a bare front. And what that then said to them is that the play side, which was in this play, was away from the strength. So they were going backside, but the play side meant that they had running back versus an outside linebacker at the line of scrimmage. If they could kick him out and get the tackle, the guard, and the center to start turning upfield on that edge, they could run in off the edge. So we'll have a look at that. They show it in slow-mo here. So we'll stop it. Oh. I'm having a Martin Hanselman moment.
Yeah, we've all been there, Coach.
Right, if I hold it there. So you can see on the right-hand side, we've got the tight end right here. We've got a 303 in the box, 2 outside linebackers up on the line of scrimmage here, one outside linebacker here. Mike is on the strong side, and then we got the safeties and the corner. So what the aim was to go to the weak side because of the 3 tech, the tackle can now create an edge and allow the guard to come up and help and work their way up through to the safeties. And then on the other side, the center is going to work the 0 tech with the guard and then create a complete wall across. And this is just, it is really a beautiful play and well worked. The fullback gets to kick the outside linebacker from inside out. So he forces him outside and just opens a running lane. And if we, I'm gonna, that's just driven me mad, that. Right, here we go. Right, so I'm gonna stop it there. So, tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle. And you can see how close they're working to create a wall.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the weak side tackle, where's his eyes? His eyes are now on this safety. He's looking second level. He's not looking at what he's actually got his hands on. He's looking second level. Fullback is targeting the inside numbers of that linebacker, of that outside linebacker. And if we follow through, you'll see how much of a hole that creates. Yeah. All right, let's go back. This will be a good one.
Yeah, all good.
We're having great fun. Oh, here we go. Okay. Right, I'm going to let it run from there. See that hole come right there. Boom. Straight in.
Beautiful.
Beautiful wall. Now we're going with 10 personnel. So we've had 21 personnel. Now we're going with 10 personnel and the Patriots. And this is against a 505 front. And this is just a nice play. Again, make the wall, and now he cuts inside because the linebacker went outside. And again, look at that wall. And he cut inside because the wall, they were pushing him further out. So really, really cool play.
That was going to be my next question, Coach, was like, in terms of running back, do you have any footwork rules or do you have any rules per se, as in like it's a one-cut run or it's an outside run? Do you have any rules in place for your running backs during the play?
Yeah, what we do is that we give them a mesh point.
Yep.
And for us, we find that rule works extremely well over here. I mean, completely different to how they do it in the US.
Correct.
But what we do is we say the mesh point is the outside foot of our tackle.
Yep.
Okay, so the back foot of the tackle to the play side. So he comes downhill towards that back foot, and what obviously the player will have moved by then. So he's actually ending up at the mesh point. There should be a gap in front of him. So at that point, he can cut back, he can cut middle, or he can go to the outside. What we tend to do is say, for at least the first 10 times that we run it, hit the edge,
yep.
Go outside. So as soon as he hits that point, and in practice, what we do is we actually we've got a carpet tile we use, and we pull it down so he gets a visual. And we make him run to the visual and then cut. And he does that every time. And we don't change that on every single play, whether he cuts inside, outside, or goes middle. He has to go to that visual and then cut. So he gets it quite simple.
Yeah.
But while he's running, he's seeing now. He's seeing what is opening up in front of him. And if we are seeing, like the Ravens did, that wall start, then there is no cutback because you've got nowhere to go. So it's quite straightforward. You've got the edge, go. But if he gets what we had in the Olympians play in 2005 that you saw, as he's coming down, that starts to open up because we've got players that couldn't get to the 3-tech and the end, so they were getting second level faster. So now you've got the gap where that guard was or the center was. You start seeing those gaps emerge, and as he's going down, and he's got in his mind the footwork, the steps that he is created to get to the what we had as the visual, the mesh point, then he can cut. And that is a build up. We try to, I mean, to be honest, the first season we ran it, I just said go edge. You don't do anything else, you go edge. The second year we run it, we said to him, you've got two choices, edge or straight. And we kept it that way. By the third year, we allowed him to cut back.
I do the same thing, Coach, to be honest.
Yeah.
Keep it simple for him. Don't overthrow ahead.
It's absolutely best way. I mean, we ran, the thing is with the same movement, we ran 2 other plays. Yep. So for the linebackers, they couldn't tell whether it was a dive to the B gap, or a power, or the stretch. Yep. They didn't. If they were just keying on that running back, they didn't see any difference.
Yep.
Which helped us, a great deal. And his first 3 steps were the same as counter.
Right.
So we built.
It all ties in. It all builds up, right?
Yeah.
If it looks the same as something else, then you build it in.
Everything's about developing that play, and instead of having all individual plays, we want them all linked.
Yep.
And that was that's, well, for us at least, that's the way we plan things. Everything we do has a link to the whole thing. So if you see here, I mean, this is 11 personnel here, 2 tight ends, and you can see already, I mean, although he's got his eyes here, one eye here, he's certainly looking at this one. He's certainly seeing whether he's going to end up going up in here. This guy, they just couldn't care about, because they don't feel that he's going to make any difference. So what they're trying to do, in effect, with that line is just drive straight upfield and make a wall. And if they have to break off, if he has to get up early, as long as these two have control here, he can get up, and his aim point will be at that safety to the play side. So he gets in front of that linebacker. Because of that zero tech, they've left the center on him. They may even just double him and drive him up into the backfield there. But the simplest thing is to get these three guys to make that wall. There you go. And if we go back slightly on that, you see as that develops, where's the defense running to? They're running to the space. Yeah, they want to stop this right here. They want to get in there. And then by doing that, if we just go a little bit further, now they're blocking inside out and opening up in here. So it's a really lovely, it's great for the O-lineman. The O-lineman just eat this up. Now we've got it out of bunch. And they used the bunch to create the wall. And they pulled the lineman because they had they were having problems with the 5 tech. So they just said, tackle, block him inside. We'll get the guard on the edge, and we'll block everything else. We'll create the wall with our bunch. I mean, when you think of the blocking, these three in here and their ability to block, bang, guard gets one and they're off for the races. I mean, how these guys worked it, and they left the corner to the lineman.
They left the small guy for the big guy.
Yeah. How much fun was he having at
Can you
that
imagine when he
point?
turned that corner and saw that big fella coming at him? I mean, he was not
Yeah.
happy camper.
I mean, 72's going, yes, please, right there. Thank you very much. I'll just fall on you.
Beautiful. The thing that I like about your approach to this, coach, is that a lot of people seem to think that the stretch is like a TD or bust kind of play.
Yeah.
Whereas your approach to it, I like that fact that you've said it's a 4-yard play, whereas
Yeah.
you're going to stay committed to that run play. So if you only get 2 or 3 yards the first, second, or third time you run it, you're going to keep going because you're making close to your mark. Whereas some people, and I've done it in the past myself, I know if we've called it and it's only gone 3 yards, you're going, well, that's not going to work today, and it goes in the back pocket. Whereas the way that your mindset on it means that you're committed to it, and you're going to keep plugging away at it until it works, or until it gives you the desired result.
Well, practice makes perfect, right, Coach? I mean, that's the thing here. You know, practice makes perfect.
That's one of the key things about inside zone, which is very similar, is that you're going to keep at it because it's not going to break the first time. You got to keep calling it, and keep calling it, and keep calling it until it breaks one. And that's what happens. Yeah. That's what I like about your approach to that play. And the beauty of it that is that you can run it against anything with anything. So, you know, a lot of people will want to be spread and in trips and stuff, and you can still run the stretch from all those angles, on clips that I have here. And I think at any level, you can make this work. And I think that it's a brilliant play for guys at our level to use. I think it's a fantastic play to hang your hat on, if I'm honest about it.
Yeah, it's progressional. That was the good thing for us about it, because we could add complexity to it, which is why we liked it so much. So hopefully that'll be fun for the guys, and I thank you for asking me to do it.
I want to thank you for taking the time, Coach. And obviously I said to you before we started that the whole point of this is not for anything other than to give something back to the UK coaches from UK coaches. So that's something that we run and we do, and we can say, you know what, we hang our hat on this. This is what we do every day. And that, like, if one coach takes something away, it's not about likes or views. If one coach takes something away, then we've all done our job, and we move on to the next young guys coming through. Because obviously nobody coaches forever unless we do. But so I want to thank you, coach, for taking the time. It's been fantastic, and the slideshow was really, really good, and the examples were fantastic. So I just want to thank you very much for your time and your effort. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, coach. Most welcome.
Obviously, I'll talk and speak to you soon, coach. Take care.
Take care.